another unexpected holiday here in Canada. This is the second unexpected holiday this month. Yeah. So it's another holiday. I feel sorry for the private sector employers that have to pay people on these unexpected holidays. I really feel sorry for them, man. That's why I kind of just work for myself, do my own thing, keep my life in order, keep it simple, you know what I'm saying? And kind of do a day by day thing. You know what I'm saying? Just go day by day, pay as you go. Guys, we are officially 26. Last week was 27, right? Yeah, we are 26 weeks out from spring here in the Northern Hemisphere. And we talked about the prepper window. Remember, guys, the prepper window. We are 26 weeks out now. When we started counting now, we were 28. So we're 26 weeks out, prepper window, until pretty much spring hits in the Northern Hemisphere. There's all kinds of chaos happening in the markets, all kinds of crap happening in Eastern Europe, where basically Putin signed a few documents that said the states, or the eastern states, those eastern states of Europe there in the Ukraine, are now part of Russia forever. So someone's saying spam isn't ham. Yeah, I heard all kinds of weird stuff about spam and how it's made and what's going on. Harry S. is saying, yo, Mike, what's up, buddy? How you doing, man? It's a beautiful morning here in beautiful Merritt, British Columbia. We are going into election season here. Yeah. And the Merritt Stalker is basically running for city council here in town. So there it is right there, downtown Merritt. Beautiful day. Look at the sky. Got my solar working. And finally working. So I got to move a few, circuits over to the sub panel. So most of the house will be fully off grid. And I'm really excited about that. And with the sun, and everyone says, oh, you live in Canada up north. Why the hell would you have solar panels? We get sun like this 360 days of the year. I actually have to put these blinds on my windows here because when the sun's rising, it actually damages all the product in the store. So I actually had to kind of paper up the windows. People think the store is closed all the time, or people passing by think the store is closed. But we have a digital open sign and a digital lights on the windows that you can't see in the day anyway. So what's everybody up to, man? Holy smokes, it's Friday. Tomorrow night, Mike in the Night. Oh, yeah. Tomorrow night, it is Mike in the Night. And, so, this is what's happening in the news for you guys to see. There it is. Putin declares 4 annexed regions. Ours Forever blames U.S. for Nord Stream attacks, and we know what's been happening with that. I mean, it's very blatant. And basically, the ink dries, and now part of Russia forever. So mission accomplished of sorts. He said these eastern and southern provinces are now part of Russia forever. He now touted that the referendums were accomplished in line with the UN Charter on self-determination for the peoples, and vowed. And markets, the market is categorically unfun and ugly. What JP Morgan's traders thinks happen next. So let's see what they think happens next. I think it's right here. The tape remains very choppy and macro driven. Yeah, there's a lot of macro shit happening in the markets right now. ETF volumes are currently in the high 30s, as we're 40% this AM. So we're 40% this AM. Liquidity and S&P features is okay, while treasuries, and from what I hear in the bond market, remains abysmal. So anyways, I like when they use words that I don't think I've ever used this word in my life. So not smart enough. The strength of the MOVE index and sustained the VIX index. I've been following the VIX too, and I've been following oil and gold at the same time. Levels had led to risk management challenges, which typically leads to de-risking. So there it is right there. And a board of frustrations. It's hard to fight the Fed commentary. So there's a lot that's going on, especially right here. And I've been hearing this from a lot of people on the ground. Macro-driven crap is really causing major issues in the markets. And WI on, what are they reporting this morning? Putin annexed 4 occupied regions. Ukraine accelerates NATO membership bill. And there it is right there. People are just, I don't know. The world's changing. The world wants different. It's all has to do with the people in power and governments that nobody has. Nobody has confidence in governments anymore. Truth and courage under fire. Ginny Thomas tells Liz Cheney on January 6th the committee still believes 2020 election was stolen. And we're not allowed to comment on that or what we think about that on here because the channel will get shut down. And so there it is right there. We got to be really careful how we talk on this platform. That's why we got Mike in the Night on Saturdays. And RT, Western leaders react to new regions joining Russia. EU ready to hit Russia with fresh sanctions, says media. Nobody cares because they're going to just sanction themselves to death is what they're going to do. We talked about this. And key Donbass city half encircled by Ukraine, DPR. That's what they're saying here, or what they're claiming here. And Putin names orchestrator of Nord Stream blasts. Obviously, he's blaming America or Western powers to go in and do that, or Soros-funded people. Who knows, man? And U.S. response to illegal Russian annexation. Again, CNN is calling it illegal because the second a country wants to fracture or create its own, you can't have those ideas out there. That's why they squashed the American Civil War. They say it's about freeing slaves. There was many economic problems going on. That's why you had a lot of regiments, black regiments, fighting in the South. The North didn't want nothing to do with the South. But what am I getting into this for? Because the second you mention a second country, or let's create our own country, let's create our own republic, and gain independence from all this corruption, guess what? It gets squashed, and you're a racist, right? So, lately, I've had several people come into my store and tell me because I have a statue of Fatima here, beside me, a little statue there beside me, and I've had people come in and say that I support pedophilia, and I support all this stuff because I'm Catholic. And I've had people come in and actually tell me that, so I have a feeling, maybe here in Canada, we might have to return to Europe, back to Portugal. And that's fine with me. I have no problem with that. I want to have fair market value for my home. I want to be able to sell my stuff at a good time. That if we have to leave this country or we're not welcome in this country, because they're going to come after Christians next. They've been coming after Christians for the last 20 years. But they're going to come after us, and they're going to make up whatever they have to make us look bad. Right? To make our culture or our way of life look like it's bad, and if you're part of it, if you're part of Christianity, they're going to start telling you that you support pedos and you support all that stuff, right? And I've had people come in my store and tell me that they're not going to support me here because I'm part of the Catholic religion, or I'm part of the Christian or Catholic religion, right? And I've had people tell me that they don't support people of that sect. And I'm like, okay, no problem. And again, if I have to go, I go back to the Azores, right? Raise my kids there. And you don't get punished for being Portuguese, right? Because you're in a Portuguese region. You don't get punished for all these things. You don't get punished for being Catholic. So there's I don't know, it's this thing that's been brewing. I don't mind going back to Europe. I don't mind going back to my country. But I have to get at least fair market value for the house. I want to get fair market value for my vehicles. I want to be able to, ship some things to Europe if I need to. You know what I'm saying? Because it's getting to that point where I think they're going to come down hard on Christians, right? Catholics, so to say, more. And I don't want to be living in a country where I'm not welcome in it, right? I wasn't welcome growing up in Toronto as a Portuguese. They found out I was Portuguese at work. They found out I was Portuguese at certain jobs. They fired me on the spot, right? So I've been let go from many jobs because the employers would find out I was Portuguese over time, right? And that was something that was happening in Ontario, right? So it's not that I'm not, I have, and then when people say, oh, you're full of crap, I have dates, times locations, names of managers on duty, everything, the whole 9 yards. But that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? Air Transit Flight 236 goes there once. I have nowhere to go. My family's been here for 400 years. Yeah, but Saxon, are you Catholic? Because if you're Catholic, then you have to go underground, right? That's the problem, and that's becoming. I've already had several people come into my store and tell me that they won't support me. I've had people come in and straight up tell me that I support, because I'm Catholic, I support pedophilia and all that stuff, right? So I don't support that stuff, right? I'm not part of that stuff. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I never even cared to think about that garbage, because there's a rotten root of evil in every sect of the world. Every sect has its own. Anglican. I don't know what that means, but yeah, I know what it means. But yeah, okay, that's horrible. You were treated like this, Mike. But who cares? I don't care. I'm treated like this. That's what you guys need to understand. I'm not looking for. I don't care. The thing is, I just don't want people to tell me that it never happened. Oh, Mike, that never happened. Oh, they weren't deporting Portuguese. Oh, people didn't come in your store and didn't tell you that. I have a cease and desist here from the Community Futures, the Chamber of Commerce Small Business Recruit, basically telling me to go F myself and shut my business down and get the hell out of town. I went to the police with that, and the police said that's forming an opinion, even though it was an illegal cease and desist. Go to the Merit Harassment series on the channel. You'll see what I'm talking about. I read out the whole cease and desist. I have it there. Signed by the guy that's running for council, that gives me the finger every time he sees me, and sends me nasty letters here to my door, and writes fake reviews on my business. But the problem is, you know what's happening now? They're saying that I wrote that cease and desist. I'm doing that to level my story up, that I actually wrote that. He has nothing to do with that. He never wrote it. So you see what's happening? Things happen, or things get moved forward, and then they go back and say, oh, what are you talking about? That never happened. That's the problem we're in right now. That's the problem we're in. So, and then when you want to look at something or investigate something that happened 50, 100, 200 years ago, and you want to start using science to start looking at ground penetrating radars and all that stuff to try and figure out what the heck is going on, you're a racist. You're a goddamn racist. And that's just where we're at right now. See, I don't mind people telling me, you can't work here because you're Portuguese. No problem. I don't care. But the problem is when you go and say, you never said that. That's the problem right there. That's the problem. Even up until a few years ago, oh, Mike, but that was back in 2007. The Chrysler dealership in Vancouver. I worked there for 2-3 weeks. Everyone was standing around talking one day. I was used car sales, okay? We are not supported by our Chamber of Commerce either, Mike. Our restaurant was hated by the Chamber of Commerce in our town. Yeah, but are they writing you threatening letters to get out of town? Are they writing you letters telling you why they give you the finger every time they see you because they hate your face? Are they sending people to your store saying you're going to do 10 years in prison if you don't follow this illegal cease and desist? Because I have all that on camera. Then I went to the RCMP. Forming an opinion. That's forming an opinion. And the police told me if I go back there with any of that stuff, the police are going to charge me for harassing the police. Yeah. Yeah. And that guy gave my wife the finger the other day. I was driving my wife the other day, gave us the finger again. Mike of the night in the day. We want to see pics of stuff. No, I can't. I don't want to show too much of what I have because I'm in a small town and I'm an easy target. And I'm not liked here in town, so it's not a good thing for me because I'm not a hard guy to find, right? You know what I'm saying? No, it wasn't bad for us what you're going through. No, it's fine. Like when I worked at the dealership. So at the Chrysler dealership in Vancouver. Okay? So I'm working there. I'm standing around. So a guy comes up to me, and all the guys standing in circles like, so where are you from, Mike? What's your background? Like, what are you? Where are you from? Oh, I'm Portuguese. They all started laughing. They're like, don't go around and ever tell anyone you're Portuguese. That's a big disgrace. The Portuguese were pirates. And everybody had something to say about Portuguese people. How they're garbage and all this stuff. I'm like, one after another had a joke to say. And it's like, this and that. But they weren't breaking balls. They were just telling me, like, basically, that don't go around telling people you're Portuguese. The Portuguese were the worst. They were this and that. Because that's what the media portrayed. The media portrayed the Portuguese as garbage. Because we actually had... Just like what's happening today, we actually had an empire. We actually had colonies in Africa that didn't want us to leave. Because they know when we left, back in the 1970s, went to shit. Went to pure shit. And that's what happened. And that's what happened. And people say, oh, look what they did to Syria, Libya. Look what the West did to all these countries. No. Look what they did to the Portuguese. Go look at what those countries look like. Go look at what those countries looked like in the 60s and 70s. Oh, look at Syria before destabilization. Go look at Luanda, 1970s. Go look at Mozambique, 1969, 1970. Go look at those countries, how they were. How they were built up. Highways everywhere. Skyscrapers. Commercial buildings. Shipping ports. Why? Because they were Portuguese. And they didn't want that. And they were backed by a gold standard too, their currency. So you see where I'm going here? It's that they did that stuff, fine. But don't say it never happened. Virgin Mary was part of the existence of Jesus. We should acknowledge her. Well, yeah, no, I have Our Lady of Fatima, because I'm Portuguese. I don't know if you know the miracle of Our Lady of Fatima, but there she is right there. And people have... Well, 2 or 3. It's just about 3 people basically say that they're not going to support me here in my business because I'm Catholic. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But then don't come and tell me that you didn't say that. That's the problem. Anyways, so that's what I wanted to bring up. It's this bullshit. Bullshit. But I'm Portuguese and I am so proud to be Portuguese, and that's why I speak Portuguese to my kids. And they're going to learn their side of history. How we were scammed. The British, you think the World Bank and the British Empire, you think those people wanted the competition of the Portuguese? With trade routes from Angola to Brazil right across, and then from Brazil to Portugal, and big trading routes in East Timor? Go watch I did a documentary that was submitted to the World Film Festival, Genocide in East Timor, but it's in Portuguese though. How they murdered all the Catholics there. The Indonesians were being funded by the Australians, giving them guns to murder them in the 1960s and 70s and 80s, and it ended in the 90s. Portugal wasn't allowed to send military. Portugal wasn't allowed to send military to East Timor, even though it was part of Portugal for almost 500 years. Portugal called Brazil, and Brazil sent military to Timor. And if you look at it now, Brazil military right now is in East Timor. So you see what I'm talking about? Look up the East Timor genocide. Look it up. Look it up. They wanted to eradicate the Catholics, and they wanted to murder the Portuguese and that were in there. They wanted to murder them, and they were funded by the Australians. Why? Why? Well, were they funded by the Australians to buy guns and kill them? Why? Because the oil line, the international oil line, the international waters. East Timor has one of the biggest oil reserves, but Australia wants it, and they stole it from them because they don't want. And East Timor asked the Portuguese to come back and recolonize like 10 times, but because it's Portugal, it doesn't work because it's Portugal. You can't have that competition. And I grew up my whole life being the cockroach or having to lie about my culture so I wouldn't get fired. In fucking Ontario. Anyways, where are we going here? We got Alaska Prepper in the house. Thank you. We got Alaska Prepper. I'm doing good, buddy. Good to see you in the chat. Yeah, instead of ranting about it, do something about it and move to Portugal. It's history, move forward. That's right. But it's just that when you go, okay, so you ignore everything around you, you go independent, you build your own business, you do your own thing, you raise your family, you pay your own bills, you're independent, you're free. But then the piece of shit government comes in, starts taxing you to death, fining you to death. I can't even ship anything because shipping is so goddamn expensive in this country because the free healthcare. And all the hospitals are closing around me. The free healthcare. Anyways, do you like Portuguese custard? Yes. I had, my mom makes those. She actually takes the time to make them. Move to Dubai where tax is 0%. No. No. I like when people tell me, look at the infrastructure in Dubai. Look at all this. The Portuguese had 10 times more than that just in Mozambique. But that was that was destabilized. That was all taken away from us. Right? So this is the, I don't mind. Okay, things happen, they happen. But it's when people come back around and say, "Oh, that never happened. What are you talking about?" Someone says move to Brazil is also a no-go for Mike. Well, I've been to Brazil a few times. I don't mind. I don't mind moving to Brazil. I don't mind moving to a very rural area in Brazil, though. You know what I'm saying? But then I have to make sure, like if I'm in a very rural area, I know all my neighbors very well. I know, I would have firefighting stuff, like a lot of fire extinguishers, lots of, emergency stuff. Plenty of Portuguese people live in Vancouver, BC. For that matter, some of the best people I work with are Portuguese. Good. But I don't know. It's a change of times we're going in right now, and it's really pissy when people can openly tell me things to my face, but I try to defend it by saying, there's a lot of things I could say to defend specific things, and I'm considered a terrorist or a racist. You know what I'm saying? City is loaded with crime. Shoplifting is getting rampant in big Canadian cities. That's right. Go back to the video, Art. I know you watch my old videos. Go back to my video from 5, 6, 7 years ago. Get out of the city. Get out of Sydney, Australia. Get out of Toronto by 2020 or else get out. I made 10, 15 videos for different cities saying get out of these cities, get out of the cities. And I made a city saying, I'm done. I'm done with Vancouver. I'm leaving the city. And I took my own medicine and I moved to a small town. You get small town drama here, which is fine. I don't mind the drama. I don't mind getting the finger and getting told off and being told that nobody likes me. Do people mess with you at your house? Nobody messes with me at my house. That's different. That's a different territory. You would love the Southland region of New Zealand, very conservative and rural. Yeah? I wish you were in my town. You were my neighbor. I love the Portuguese, says 1,000 silver. I don't think you want me as your neighbor. Because if we start talking, I don't stop talking. I just talk a lot. Yesterday, 2 people shoplifting as I was shopping at a big fancy grocery chain. Yeah, of course. 100%. 100 quadrillion %. And it's going to get worse. Art Bell needs to call into Mike in the Night. Art Bell needs to call in. We need Art Bell. Art Bell, I need you to call in. And I need Stelios to call in from Colombia. Stelios Cantos. I need to get him to call in. I haven't heard from Stelios in over a year now on Mike in the Night. And he's still in Colombia. He messaged me yesterday. Stelios is a guy that ran off to Colombia before the you-know-what kicked off. And he's been in Colombia since. Come to Texas, Mike. It's hot in the summer, but welcome all. Just look at the border. Yeah, Harry, I spoke to somebody down in California this morning, and they were telling me they watched my video about how I applied to become an American citizen, and I did everything by the book, and I got a company to sponsor me. Then I had to run ads that would make sure I wasn't stealing an American's job, right? I was doing all that by the book. And then 4 years, or 3.5, 4 years later, almost 5 actually, I went for my final interview, and they said they weren't taking my kind, to basically reapply in 5 years. Man, my employer, the company that sponsored me, was pissed. But that's okay. It is what it is. It worked out for the best, so to say. And who knows what would happen if I stayed. You know what I'm saying, right? So that's that. But yeah, there's lots of like incidences, and I'm going to start marking them down, times and dates and locations, because what's happening now is we've gotten to a point where if something negative that happened to somebody doesn't fit that narrative, when they were deporting the Portuguese in 2007 and 8 from Toronto and the vehicle blitzes and they shut down malls, those articles are all gone. The CTV, the CBC, where they went to the high schools and hauled the kids back that were Portuguese, wait for their parents, those are all gone. The articles are gone. They're gone. From the CTV, the CBC, the Toronto Sun, the Sunday Sun, they're all gone. So so then I made a video showing those articles 4 or 5 years ago, and unfortunately that video got taken down. So it's like one after another. So when they're saying, "Oh, Trump is deporting Mexicans," I remember this, and I made the video to follow up and say, "What about Canada? They deported a pile of Portuguese people, like 47,000, in less than a year." Yeah, Mike, that never happened. We can't find articles on that, Mike. No, that never happened. Yeah, but Trump's deporting Mexicans, but Canada did it too. No, Canada wouldn't do that, Mike. Yeah, whatever. Ooh, everything's locked up in Walmart in Colorado. Woo! That's where we're going. Ram raids? No. Are you talking about where people back up a pickup truck? Luckily, I'm actually 2.5, 3 feet above. It's all concrete below. So for them to ram a truck into my business and then rob me, they're gonna do a lot of damage to their vehicle. Doing so. Would the insurance pay? I don't know. Like, insurance doesn't really... Their job isn't to pay you for anything. Their job is for you to be insured. But if something happens, you know what I'm saying? They'll go, "Well, you're going to have to go through the landlord's insurance now because we don't cover this." They're always going to find something not to pay people. But yeah, I'm ranting hard today, baby. Woo! I'm ranting hard. Guys, tomorrow night on Mike in the Night, it's going to be really good. It's going to be really good. Watch this. You know, there's this, I'm going to show you guys something. Here. Okay, let's go to the... So, guys, if you want to find I have a Portuguese channel. Watch this. I had a Spanish one, too. Look, there's the Alaska Prepper right there. I saw him in the comments. Go to Mike Martins in Portuguese. This video was taken down a couple of times. Mozambique, onde vai a riqueza, means where's the richness going? Because Mozambique used to be a really good country. It used to be like this. It used to be, when the Portuguese were there for 500 years, they actually built, they actually built the country to like, I'm talking about, like, Mercedes taxis, boulevards everywhere, shopping venues, businesses expanding. I'll see. Let me see if I can catch one of the taxis and show you guys the taxis down there, and that's in Portuguese Africa. But unfortunately, the World Banks and the economy, the World Banks. There it is, right there. There's the Mercedes taxis with the green roofs, and people would take those taxis around, and it would take you to different parts of the city. And that's Portuguese Africa right there before before it became destabilized by the banking system. Now, what do I want to show you guys? I want to show you guys this one. Watch this. Let's go to videos. I don't know. Okay, let me go back here. Hold on. Give me a second. It's in my documentaries, and it's called Genocide in Timor. Here it is. I found it. It's right there. Genocide in Timor. And look at the beginning of the video. That's at Timor. That's when Portugal won the Euro Cup. I don't know if you guys remember. That's at Timor. They're celebrating their previous colonialists, the evil colonists that came in. So there it is, made by Mike Martins. So that's my documentary there, and that I made that was submitted to the World Film Festival, whatever thingy. But there it is, Portugal. Look at that, Portugal, and that's in East Timor, not Portugal, East Timor. Okay, why? Why would it? If the Portuguese were all pirates and murderers, why the hell would people be celebrating their World Cup victory in East Timor? So there it is, genocide in Timor-Leste. There is the video right there. I don't know if there's a way you could translate it. There's the president there speaking. The whole thing is in Portuguese. No one speaks any other language but in Portuguese. And then there was the big genocide that happened. And I wanted to share this with you guys and what was happening there. And there I am right there. and what happened and how it happened and how the border. Let me go to the border right here. I think they're celebrating the murder of multiple. Right there, hands off East Timor's oil, and this was a big problem. Oh yeah, my life was threatened over this big time. My life was threatened over this big time. And look, so basically they murdered all these people to basically take their oil because of the oil, and Australia took it. And I wanted to share that with you guys so you guys could see. I've had a long mission here on Earth, you know? And I've made sure I did what I can to get the truth out. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if there's English subtitles. Maybe you can. I think it's gotten so advanced now that you could probably put English subtitles on that. You watch that, you'd be like, wow, that's a whole side of the world, or the whole, because I said to you guys before, you have the Spanish history, the Spanish, the English, right? But nobody talks about the Portuguese. The Portuguese were the first of everything, the first to go around the Cape, the first 280 years longer than any other country in Asia. Portuguese were first. The Portuguese arrived with the Shogun Wars in Japan. They were the first to arrive. You know what I'm saying? So this is the what we're having here is a part of history, a huge chunk of the history is going to become non-existent because the Portuguese refused to trade with the East Indian Trading Company selling opium. Once the Portuguese, I think it was 1701 or 1698, the Portuguese refused to sell drugs through their trade line. The Queen of England issued a decree to open fire on any Portuguese shipping vessel anytime. And that's how it started. And that's how the Portuguese were the pirates. How they, everywhere where I go for a job interview, if I don't have to work for nobody, God forbid. But if I go where they're like, oh, the Portuguese were the pirates. Don't go around telling people. No, I don't speak Tagalog. No, I don't speak Tagalog. No, I don't. I understand some of it. Like the days, lunes, viernes, miércoles, sábado, domingo. I understand the days. I understand words like cerrado or like I hear my wife talking on the phone. I understand 10% of the conversation. 10%. I'm going to do a video. I'm going to go down to a part in the Philippines where they still speak some Spanish. I'm going to go there. Oh, by the way, but Mike, if the Portuguese were so long in Asia, longer than any other European country, how do you explain the fact of the Spanish being in the Philippines? Guess who got the Spanish to the Philippines? Because they had no idea how to get there. The Portuguese. Magellan wasn't Portuguese. Magellan was Portuguese. I tell it to Filipino people. They're like, Magellan was Portuguese? They look it up. I don't know how Wikipedia hasn't changed it yet, but he's Portuguese still because Wikipedia said so, right? Because as long as Wikipedia doesn't say I'm a Japanese, I'm still going to be a Portuguese. Because once Wikipedia says something, that's it. It's over because Wikipedia said so, right? So, yeah. Anyways, guys. Okay, it's 10:56. I'm going to open up the store, guys. If you want to come and visit me here, I'm at 1925 Quilchina Avenue in downtown Merritt. It is Friday. It is a holiday here in Canada. Unexpected holiday! Woo! And a lot of employers are going to be really pissed when they have to pay these holidays out. We had a holiday unexpected last week, and so goes on. And the public sector keeps growing! Anyways, guys, Mike Martin's here. I'll see you guys tomorrow night on Mike in the Night. I'll leave a link in the community section if you guys want to join us. And I need people to. I need more first-time callers to call in. I need Art Bell to call in. Art Bell's got so much information. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, you do. Call in, be part of the channel and the community. Anyways, is CNN better than Wikipedia? Well, the problem with CNN is the CNN and The View with Whoopi Goldberg and those rats, that's all the same, like that's the same level. That's like really bad. At least Wikipedia says they still speak Portuguese in Brazil, right? You go to Ontario, Canada, they tell you they speak Brazilian in Portuguese. So then they speak Australian in Australia. You see what I'm saying? That this whole, yeah, there's a whole side of history. There's a whole side of history that I recommend people to look into and weed through the garbage and start to find the truth if you really want to know what the truth is. Anyways, guys, I gotta go. I gotta open this door. Mike Martin's here. I have spoken.